You can let your guard down now. You don't have to prove anything, not tonight. Tonight isn't about fixing the world. You're here to fix yourself. And even if everything out there has been chaos, in here, there can be calm, rest, peace. Because as you close your eyes, you're going to hear words that have crossed centuries, battles, deaths, and inner resurrections. They don't come from perfect people. They come from men who lost everything and yet never lost themselves. They come from the great Stoics, the ones who didn't write to impress. They wrote to understand themselves in the world, to remind themselves that the mind needs shelter too. And that's exactly what this video is going to be for you. A shelter. A safe space to let go of anger, rush, guilt. A place where your soul can breathe. Tonight, I bring you a collection of the most powerful Stoic teachings, ones that will help you fall asleep, bring rest to your body and soul. You don't need to take notes, just let their words wrap around you like a warm blanket in winter. Let them come in, let them cleanse you, let them return the strength that's always been inside you. Because you're not here by accident. You're here because it's time to finally listen to yourself. Let's begin. Let me share a secret with you. Something you probably already know but refuse to admit. Listen closely. Time doesn't stop. There's no way to get it back. Life goes on, and you can't rewind it. Surprised? No. So why are you wasting your life? Why are you giving away your precious time day after day? Do you really think you'll get another chance? No, my friend, life doesn't work that way. Every minute you let slip away is like a whisper lost in the wind. Gone forever, irreplaceable. But that stops today. In this video, I'll give you the Stoic tools you need to stop wasting your life and finally focus on what truly matters. You. It's time to channel your energy, your time, and your actions into what helps you grow, into what brings you closer to the life you deserve. Because guess what? No one is going to live this life for you. Today, you'll learn how to wake up every morning without regrets, without feeling like the day is slipping through your fingers. Ah, wouldn't that be amazing? To feel like everything you do has purpose, making you stronger, happier, more you. Think I'm exaggerating? Let me prove you wrong. But first, let me share a story that will show you the power of focusing on yourself and stopping the endless waste of time. It's about Jose, a clever and hardworking young man with a dream. Jose always wanted to open his own business, a cozy cafe that served not just great coffee but also gave people a place to feel at home. Jose had a talent for baking, unique ideas, and a natural ability to connect with others. He had everything he needed to make his dream come true. Except for one thing. He didn't know how to organize himself. Every day was the same. He'd wake up just in time, eat breakfast while scrolling through his phone, and rush off to work, a job that never fulfilled him. At the office, he'd daydream about his project, imagining how he'd decorate the place, greet his customers every morning, even catching the scent of freshly brewed coffee. But after work, exhaustion always got the better of him. He'd collapse onto the couch, telling himself, "Ugh, I'm too tired today. I'll work on my business plan tomorrow." And then he'd let the hours slip away, watching shows or mindlessly scrolling the internet, thinking maybe tomorrow would be better. But tomorrow came, and guess what? The day was even harder. He got home later, even more drained, and didn't work on his dream. This time he told himself, "I'm completely wiped out. I'll go to bed early so I'll be refreshed and ready to work on it tomorrow." And so, the days passed, Jose stuck on a roller coaster of hope and frustration. Then, one ordinary afternoon, on his way home, Jose ran into an old school friend he hadn't seen in years. To his surprise, his friend, who'd never been a great student or particularly outstanding, was living the life Jose had always wanted. He had his own business, a warm and welcoming spot filled with happy customers and good energy. Jose couldn't help but feel a mix of envy and frustration. After chatting for a while, Jose finally asked, "How did you do it? I've always dreamed of something like this, but I never find the time to start or the money, and I'm always so tired." His friend smiled calmly and said, "It wasn't luck or magic. It was all about time and how I used it. I realized no one was going to hand me the perfect moment to start or the money I needed. I had to create it myself, so I prioritized what was important to me. Every day, I set aside at least 2 hours for my dream. No matter how tired I was or how many distractions I had, 2 hours every single day, no excuses. Little by little, those hours turned into the business you see today. As his friend spoke, the spark in his eyes was undeniable. That casual conversation was like a revelation for Jose. That same night, he stopped making excuses. He grabbed a notebook and wrote down his first plan. Not a plan to open the cafe right away, but a plan to reclaim his time and start building his future. At first, it was tough. Old habits pulled at him like chains. But with every hour he dedicated to learning about business, practicing recipes, or mapping out his ideas, he felt a shift. His dream, which once seemed so far away, started taking shape. And the best part? While focusing on what truly lit him up inside, he felt radiant. His days began to have real meaning. He valued himself more than ever before. For the first time in his life, Jose was putting the most important thing first: himself. And you, how many times have you told yourself, "I'll do it tomorrow"? How many times have excuses or distractions kept you from what you truly want? Today, I'm going to show you how to start prioritizing yourself, just like Jose did. Because no one is going to hand you the life you want unless you fight for it. Are you ready? Let's get started. 1. Don't be perfect, just move forward. Have you ever felt too scared to start something because everything wasn't just right? That idea that you need the perfect moment or to be an expert before taking the first step? My friend, let me tell you something. Perfection doesn't exist. It's a mirage. Always one step ahead, an elegant excuse to avoid starting. Picture this. You're at a harbor, and your ship is ready to set sail. But instead of departing, you stay there, checking every rope, every sail, waiting for a day with no clouds or wind. Meanwhile, other ships are sailing by, flawed, imperfect, but moving toward destinations you can only dream of. And why? Because you refuse to go until everything is perfect. That's the trap of perfectionism. It keeps you stuck at the dock, frustrated while life moves on. And this isn't just an inspiring metaphor. According to a Harvard University study, perfectionism is closely tied to procrastination. Researchers found that people chasing unattainable standards aren't the ones reaching their goals. They're the ones avoiding tasks out of fear of failure or judgment. It's a vicious cycle. The more you strive for perfection, the less you do, and the less you do, the more incapable you feel of moving forward. Progress, not perfection, is what takes us far. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you wait for the ideal, you'll never act. Do what you can with what you have right now." Every small step matters. Every action, no matter how insignificant it seems, adds up. And really, what's the point of waiting to know everything before you begin? If you never start, you'll never know anything. Think about it. How many things have you left undone because you didn't feel good enough? Maybe you wanted to learn a new language but thought you'd never sound like a native speaker. Or you dreamed of improving your health but froze because you didn't have the perfect workout plan. You get the idea, don't you? There's immense power in simply moving forward, even if you don't have it all figured out. What's the worst that can happen? That you make a mistake? Listen to me, I hope you do. That's how you'll learn. Every day you practice, every small effort is building something bigger. The secret is consistency, not perfection. So ask yourself, what could you achieve if you stopped waiting for the perfect moment? If you stopped making excuses and simply started? Because you don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to take the first step, then the next and the one after that. Remember, my friend, stumbling isn't failure. It's part of the journey. And on this journey, it's not about being fast or perfect. It's about moving forward with purpose. So let go of the weight of trying to do everything flawlessly and start today. Because every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to the life you deserve. 2. Don't get distracted from your goal. Have you ever tried walking in a straight line while looking to the sides? If you haven't, give it a shot and tell me what happens. It's impossible, right? Every time you turn your head, your body shifts off course. The same thing happens with your goals and your time. Every time you let yourself get distracted from your objective, you move further away from what you truly want. It may sound dramatic, but trust me, it's the truth. And honestly, it's not entirely your fault. We live in a world built to distract us. Social media, endless notifications, and meaningless tasks pull our attention like a black hole. Did you know that major corporations have entire teams of engineers and psychologists designing algorithms to keep you hooked? Creepy, right? But true. And the worst part? These distractions don't just steal your time, they drain your mental energy. How can you focus on what really matters when everything around you is trying to pull you into its trap? Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're carrying a bucket of water, representing your energy. Your goal is to take that bucket to the end of a path and use it to water a tree you've been nurturing, your dream, your purpose. But as you walk, you stop at every corner, spilling a bit of water here and there. A few minutes on social media, saying yes to something that doesn't matter, doing tasks you should have said no to. By the time you reach the tree, the bucket is empty, and your dream remains dry, unable to grow. See the problem? Every distraction is a leak in your energy that could be invested in yourself, in what helps you grow, in what truly matters. 2,000 years ago, there were no social media platforms, yet Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If you seek tranquility, do less, but do what's essential." That's the key. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. It's about learning to say no to anything that pulls you off your path. Prioritizing yourself means protecting your attention as if it's your most valuable resource, because it is. You can't let the noise of the world steal your focus. This doesn't mean isolating yourself, but it does mean being mindful of how you use your time and energy. Think about it. How many days have ended with you feeling like you accomplished nothing meaningful? That's the price of distractions. But when you start cutting them out, everything changes. Suddenly, you gain clarity. Your energy flows toward your goal, and every day, you take another step forward, toward your dreams, not where the algorithms want to lead you. So, my friend, the next time something tries to pull you away from what really matters, remember the bucket and the tree. Protect your energy, focus your attention, and stay the course. Because at the end of the day, no one else is going to water that tree for you. It's yours, and only you can make it flourish. Before we continue, if this content is bringing value to your life, consider subscribing and becoming an exclusive member to access unique benefits. And share in the comments. What's that goal or dream that keeps slipping through your fingers? What change will you make to achieve it? We'd love to hear from you and grow together. 3. Life is now. Yes, it sounds obvious, but listen, my friend. Life is now. It wasn't yesterday, and it won't be tomorrow. Yet we live as if time is endless, as if there will always be another day to enjoy, to love, to chase our dreams. Be honest with me. How many times have you put off something important for when you have time? Maybe telling your mom how much she means to you, starting that personal project, or simply taking a moment to breathe and savor life. Does this sound familiar? When I retire, I'll finally enjoy life. Yeah? So let me ask you, what if you don't make it to retirement? What if life has other plans, and this is the only moment you have to truly live? Let's not even be so dramatic. Imagine you do reach that long-awaited retirement. Finally, free time. Now you can enjoy life, right? But the years haven't been kind. Maybe your knees won't let you travel the way you dreamed. Think about it. You've spent your entire life waiting for the perfect moment, not realizing that life has always been happening right here, right now. There is no better time to live than today. Every day you spend dwelling on the past or dreaming about the future, you're letting go of the only moment that's truly yours. This one. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you have 1,000 years to live. Time is slipping away. Act now." Picture an hourglass in front of you. Each grain of sand represents a moment of your life that will never return. Now ask yourself, are you spending those grains on something meaningful, or are you letting them fall without even noticing? We live caught between two illusions, regret for yesterday and hope for tomorrow. But the truth is, neither the past nor the future is under our control. All we have is the present. How many times have you sat at the table with your family but spent the moment checking your phone or worrying about your to-do list? You don't need massive changes to start living in the now. Sometimes, it's as simple as looking into the eyes of the people you love and giving them your full attention. Life is not a rehearsal. There are no second chances. What matters is what you do with this moment. Because in the end, nobody remembers perfect days. What they remember are the real moments, those times when you were truly present. So stop postponing. Stop waiting for the perfect moment. Live today. Look around you and appreciate what you have, even if it isn't perfect. Because believe me, life isn't about what's coming. It's about what's happening right now. 4. Don't give away your time. Think about this. The value you give to your time is the value you give to yourself. Every minute you give away carelessly, every commitment you accept out of fear of saying no, is like signing a blank check with your energy and letting others decide how much to take. Does that sound fair to you? Tell me, what price do you put on your life? Imagine you own a priceless jewel, one of a kind in the entire world. Would you leave it lying on a random counter for anyone to use as they please? Of course not. You'd protect it, guard it carefully, and make sure only those who truly value it could even see it. Well, my friend, you are that jewel. Your time is your most valuable resource, yet you give it away to anyone who asks for a little attention. The problem is, we often don't realize how much this bad habit costs us. We get so caught up in trying to meet everyone's expectations that we forget our time isn't endless. We lose it in pointless meetings, empty conversations, or distractions that add nothing to our lives. But let me be clear. Every hour you waste on something that doesn't help you grow is one less hour you could invest in yourself, your dreams, and what truly matters. Let me put it in the words of Epictetus. If someone tried to steal your possessions, you'd do everything to stop them. So why do you let people steal your time without resistance? Picture a glass of crystal clear water. Every drop represents your time and energy. Now imagine that instead of drinking from that glass to quench your thirst, you're pouring it into cracked plastic cups all around you, trying to fill something that will never be full. What's left for you in the end? Exactly, nothing. Just exhaustion and frustration. Protecting your time isn't easy, I know. The world is designed to rob you of every last second of your attention. But if you focus, it's possible. Start by identifying which activities truly add value to your life and which don't. Make a list, write down your priorities, and compare them to how you actually spend your day. Learn to say no, firmly but respectfully. You don't need to apologize for putting yourself first. Block those constant notifications, limit your social media usage, and carve out time for yourself, whether it's to read, meditate, or work on a personal project. At first, it'll feel uncomfortable, I get it. People may not understand, and you'll feel tempted to fall back into old habits. But trust me, every step you take toward better time management will be worth it. Focusing on yourself doesn't mean ignoring others. It means setting clear boundaries so your time and energy are invested in what truly matters. Here's the big question. How many things are you saying yes to that actually deserve a no? How many times have you agreed to something you knew wasn't good for you, just to avoid rejection or judgment? Remember, my friend, every decision you make about your time is a declaration to the world of how much you value yourself. Don't waste it. Use it with intention. Because in the end, time doesn't come back, and only you can decide what to make of it. So tell me, what will you do with yours? 5. Compare yourself only to yourself. Let me be honest with you. Comparing yourself to others is a battle you'll never win. It's a waste of time. There will always be someone faster, richer, stronger, or more successful. Comparing yourself to others is like trying to catch the horizon. No matter how fast you run, it will always be out of reach. And do you know why? Because it's not your race, it's not your path, and it's not your life. This isn't a new idea. The Stoics understood it long ago. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Never be envious. Another person's path is not your path." He was absolutely right. Your real rival isn't out there, it's inside you. The only comparison that makes sense is with the person you were yesterday. Your achievements, your mistakes, and the effort you're willing to put in today to become just a little bit better. Now, I'm not Epictetus or Seneca, but I can share my own experience with this. A few years ago, I constantly compared myself to others. I was that person, always looking outward, dreaming about someone else's car or fitness level. I remember spending hours on social media, scrolling through people's trips, their purchases, their seemingly perfect lives. I'd tell myself, look at everything they've achieved. Why am I not there yet? That obsession drained my energy and made me feel inadequate. It was like being in a bike race, but spending all my time looking at the riders around me instead of focusing on my own pedals. One day I stopped. I literally stopped what I was doing and asked myself, what am I gaining from this? The answer was simple. Nothing. At that moment, I decided to change. I stopped allowing myself to scroll endlessly. I promised myself I'd look inward instead of outward. I set small daily goals, and most importantly, I started measuring my progress based on where I was before, not on where others were. And do you know what happened? Something magical. My energy came back, my focus sharpened, and little by little I climbed out of that pit of envy and helplessness. I discovered that true success isn't about beating others, it's about surpassing your own limits. But this isn't just motivational talk, it's backed by science. Research from the University of Toronto shows that people who focus on their personal goals, instead of comparing themselves to others, experience higher levels of happiness and self-esteem. It's simple. The less you compare yourself to the world, the freer you'll be to move forward on your own path. Imagine your life as a garden. If you spend all your time looking at your neighbor's garden, wondering why their flowers are bigger or more colorful, you'll neglect your own. But if you focus on watering your plants, pulling out the weeds and nurturing the soil, your garden will eventually bloom, unique and beautiful in its own way. So let me ask you, how much time have you wasted looking at someone else's life instead of working on your own? How many times have you felt less worthy simply because you measured your success with someone else's ruler? Today, I invite you to make a change. Stop looking outward and start looking inward. Take small steps. Recognize your achievements, no matter how small. Make a list of your strengths and what you've learned along the way, because at the end of the day, the only comparison that matters is whether you're a little better today than you were yesterday. Remember, my friend, you're not in anyone else's race. Your only competition is with yourself. So focus on your garden, pedal your bike, and measure your progress with the only standard that matters, your own. 6. The answer is always within. Let me tell you a story, one that I think will help you understand that the answer, my friend, is always within you. Once upon a time, there was a young man named Adrian who lived in a small village surrounded by mountains. One day, he overheard a wise old man say there was a chest of gold hidden at the top of the mountains, but only those brave and persistent enough could find it. From that moment, Adrian dreamed of discovering the treasure. Every night, he went to bed thinking, if I find it, I'll finally have everything I want: happiness, wealth, and purpose. Finally, he made up his mind. He packed everything he thought he might need and began his climb. Along the way, he met other travelers who gave him conflicting advice. Turn left here. Take this shortcut. Don't go that way. It's too dangerous. Confused, Adrian tried to follow all their directions, but the only thing he achieved was getting more and more lost. Exhausted and frustrated, he decided to stop. He sat on a rock, and for the first time on his journey, he stopped looking outward. He stopped following what others were saying and started listening inward. He asked himself, What do I really want? Why am I searching for this treasure? What is my intuition telling me about the path I should take? In that moment, something shifted. Adrian stopped listening to external voices and trusted his own judgment. He followed his intuition, and with every step, he felt closer to the top. He let himself be guided by the beauty of nature, by the song of the birds, and with each moment he felt happier, more alive, and more connected to his goal. Finally, he reached the summit and saw the chest half buried under a tree. "I can't believe it," he exclaimed, tears in his eyes. He ran to it, opened it, and nothing. The chest was empty. At first, he was furious. Someone must have beaten me to it. How unfair. But after sitting in solitude for a while, he realized the truth. The real treasure wasn't in the chest. It was in the journey he had taken. It was in the confidence he had built in himself, and the answers he had found by listening to his inner voice. Suddenly, Adrian felt free, happy, and fulfilled. Do you see? In the end, he had found his treasure. This story is more than a tale. It's a mirror. How many times have you searched outside for what you could only find within yourself? How often have you followed the opinions, advice, or expectations of others, only to end up feeling lost? Marcus Aurelius summed it up perfectly. Look within. Inside you is the source of strength that will never run dry if you learn to dig in the right place. Life is like that mountain, and the treasure you're seeking isn't at the end of the path. It's in how you face your fears. Learn to trust yourself and discover who you are along the way. So, the next time you feel like you need an answer, don't rush to ask your neighbor or search online. Just stop. Take a moment to listen, because the answer is already within you. No one knows your dreams and desires better than you do. 7. What does success mean to you? Take a moment to reflect. Is the success you're chasing truly yours, or is it what others have convinced you to pursue? It's easy to fall into the trap of chasing the world's definition of success: money, fame, recognition. That's why I'm asking, have you ever stopped to question if you're pursuing something that genuinely fulfills you? Imagine success as a suit. There are beautiful, elegant, and flashy suits that others wear proudly, but they're not tailored to fit you. You can try to put one on, but it will always feel too big or too tight. The discomfort will be constant, and no matter how good it looks on the outside, you won't feel right in it. Why? Because it's not your suit. It's not your success. Do you remember the old story of the tortoise and the hare? The hare, confident in its speed, mocked the tortoise for being slow. One day, they decided to race. From the start, the hare sped ahead, but feeling superior, decided to stop and rest. Meanwhile, the tortoise, undeterred by the hare's speed and unfazed by its taunts, kept moving forward, step by step, slowly but steadily. With persistence, the tortoise stayed focused on its abilities, never trying to compete with the hare or rush the process. In the end, the hare lost the race because it underestimated the tortoise's consistency. It judged the tortoise based on its perceived limitations and overestimated its own abilities. There are many lessons to take from this fable, but here's the one that matters today. It doesn't matter how fast others seem to be moving or how successful they appear. What matters is that you follow your own pace, focused on your own path. If we compare, the hare seemed like the better runner, right? But its abilities were useless because it lost sight of what truly mattered: the goal. The tortoise, on the other hand, defined success on its own terms, with perseverance and focus, and reached the finish line. The Stoics invite us to reflect on this. Seneca wrote, "No wind is favorable for the sailor who doesn't know which port he's heading to." If you're not clear on what success means to you, you'll drift aimlessly, chasing goals that don't fulfill you. And when you finally reach them, you'll find they only leave you wanting more. Modern psychology backs this up. Research shows that people who pursue goals aligned with their personal values and passions are happier and more satisfied with their lives. On the other hand, those chasing external objectives like social approval or status often end up feeling empty. even when they achieve what they thought they wanted. True success isn't measured in universal terms. It's measured by how well you live according to your values, and how you build a life that resonates with you. So today, I invite you to pause. Ask yourself, what truly fulfills me? What makes me feel alive? Here's a hint. Don't look for the answer in applause, trophies, or numbers. As I mentioned earlier, the answer is already within you, waiting for you to have the courage to embrace it and follow it. So tell me in the comments, what does success mean to you? Is it something that makes you excited to get up in the morning? Or is it a checklist of goals imposed by others? I'd love for you to share your idea of success with us. We're listening. 8. Be like an ant. Ah, ants. Those tiny creatures that seem insignificant but hide incredible qualities. Have you ever stopped to observe them? Have you noticed how, despite their size, they seem capable of moving mountains? Ants don't waste time, they don't complain, they don't stop, and most importantly, they never lose sight of their goal. Now imagine what you could achieve if you adopted that same mindset. Think about it. Ants don't have a perfect plan or a detailed map. They don't need to know every step of the way before they start. They just work, step by step, day by day, trusting that their constant effort will take them where they need to go. Here's the key. They don't try to do everything at once. If they need to carry a huge piece of food back to their nest, they don't haul it in one go. They break it down, carry it bit by bit, and in the end, they achieve what seemed impossible. Sounds logical, doesn't it? But let's be honest. How often do we actually act this way in our daily lives? Hardly ever. Do you know what else makes ants unique? They don't wake up in the morning wasting time wondering what to do, debating whether they feel like gathering food or waiting for perfect weather to start working. They just do it. They have a clear purpose, and they don't shy away from it. They don't pause to ask themselves, is what I'm doing enough? They understand that the sum of small daily efforts leads to big results. Let me ask you, how many times have you avoided starting something because it felt too big or complicated? How many dreams have you set aside because you felt like you couldn't tackle it all at once? Being like an ant means remembering that you don't have to do everything today, but you do have to take the first step. You might think I'm crazy, but ants have a lot in common with Stoics. As Epictetus said, it's not what happens to you, but how you respond to it that matters. Ants understand this well. If they encounter an obstacle, they simply go around it. If they fall, they get back up. They don't waste time lamenting because they know that every small effort counts. Picture an ant colony at the start of the day. Ants march one by one, carrying leaves, seeds, or tiny bits of food that seem insignificant. They don't stop to wonder if their small actions will make a difference or whether they should wait for a better day. They just keep moving forward, over and over, bringing their load back home. By the end of the day, those seemingly small efforts add up to something extraordinary. Food for the entire colony. Life-sustaining sustenance. That's the power of ants. They don't worry about the size of each task. They focus only on the next step. What seems small or insignificant in the moment becomes something immense over time, thanks to their persistence and determination. So today, I invite you to think, what could you achieve if you were as consistent as an ant? If you broke your goals into small, manageable actions and simply started? No excuses, no distractions. It doesn't matter how big the challenge is. The only thing that matters is the next step. Be like an ant, persistent, patient, and focused. Because, my friend, mountains aren't moved in one giant push, but grain by grain they can be conquered. 9. Don't fear solitude. Ah yes, solitude. A tricky topic, isn't it? How much time have you spent seeking others to fill the voids that only you can fill? In a world full of distractions and shallow connections, solitude feels like an enemy, when in reality, it's a powerful teacher. Here's the truth. The time you spend with yourself is never wasted. It's an investment with returns greater than any stock market could offer. Think of solitude as a lighthouse in the middle of the ocean. When the waters are calm, you don't need its light. But when the waves rise and the wind howls, The lighthouse is the only thing guiding you safely to shore. Solitude, when embraced, brings clarity. It shows you what truly matters and reminds you that your greatest strength has always been within you. Marcus Aurelius understood this perfectly. He wrote, "In your own soul lies the safest refuge." This refuge doesn't depend on others' opinions, applause, or company. It's a place you can only access when you dare to be alone. Here's a tough but necessary question. Do you fear solitude? It's hard to admit, and maybe you're unsure of the answer. To find out, ask yourself, do you often seek the noise of others when you're alone? Maybe you fill your time with gatherings, shallow conversations, or anything that keeps you from facing your own thoughts. It's okay to admit it. It's an act of courage. Only when we recognize our fears can we begin to confront them. At first, solitude can feel uncomfortable. That silence whispers in your ear, "You're alone." Does that mean no one wants to be with you? But over time, those whispers transform into something deeper, something real. You start to hear yourself, to know yourself better. Solitude doesn't isolate you. It connects you to who you truly are. It helps you face your fears, recognize your strengths, and understand what you really want out of life. Let me ask you, how many times have you avoided being alone because you were afraid of what you might discover? A lot? What if you changed your perspective? What if I told you that what you find isn't something to fear, but a gateway to your best self? In a world that teaches us to fear solitude, being able to embrace it is an act of bravery. It's your chance to reclaim your time, your purpose, and most importantly, your connection with yourself. So don't fear being with yourself, because solitude isn't emptiness. It's the space you need to grow, to listen, and to build the life you deserve. Are you ready to stop searching outward and discover everything that's already inside you? Listen, the time you spend with yourself isn't wasted. It's the first step to stop wasting your life and to focus on what truly matters, you. 10. Don't fear falling, learn to rise. How many opportunities have you let pass because you were afraid to fail? How many times have you said no to something that deep down excited you, but of course, you didn't feel ready to take the leap? Let me be clear with you. Those are all excuses. They sound plausible because your brain knows you so well. Yes, you heard that right. And no, this isn't a scolding, it's a way to help you see things as they are. We've all been there. The fear of stumbling sometimes pushes harder than the excitement of something new. We freeze, we doubt, and we stop moving forward. But here's the problem. If you don't dare to fall, you won't get hurt. But you also won't live the life you could have lived. Do you know what people regret most on their deathbeds? Exactly. They regret not seizing those moments, those opportunities that life gives you, perhaps only once. They regret wasting their time by not daring to fail. Imagine you're building a bridge toward your best self, toward the life where you're truly focused on yourself, without wasting a single moment. Every mistake, every stumble, is like a plank that wobbles beneath your feet. Is it uncomfortable? Yes. Is it scary? Also, yes. Terrifying even. But if you stop moving forward because one plank isn't stable, you'll never finish crossing the bridge. The key isn't avoiding those shaky planks. It's learning to step on them with confidence and keep going. As Marcus Aurelius said, what stands in the way becomes the way. Falls aren't obstacles to your progress. They are the tools that allow you to build it. Think about this. What would you do if you knew that every stumble brought you closer to the life you desire? If you understood that falling isn't a setback, but part of the growth process? Being stoic means accepting the reality of falling and using it as an opportunity to become stronger. Yes, I know this all sounds beautiful, but when you're in the heat of the moment, the stumbles can be terrifying. So here's something that might help you next time life challenges you. Every time you make a mistake or feel stuck, unsure of whether to move forward or stay where you are, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, what did I learn from this? How can I apply it to improve? Every stumble carries a lesson that prepares you for the next step. Focus on what you can control. Yes, it's a Stoic classic, but it works. Don't waste your energy on what's already happened. Focus on what you can do today to move forward, and don't forget to start again. Every time you rise, you're not starting from scratch. You're starting from experience. Listen closely. No one will remember your falls, but everyone will see how far you went in the end. Don't waste your life fearing falls, because each stumble holds an opportunity to grow, to move forward, and to rise stronger. So take that first step, and if you fall, get up with even more strength. What truly matters isn't how many times you fall, but how many times you choose to keep going. Let those falls become the stepping stones that build the path toward your best self. With each step you take after rising, you'll gain strength, clarity, and confidence in yourself. So, tell me, what's holding you back today from trying one more time? Share it with me in the comments and stay just a bit longer. What's coming next will show you the final step to a life well lived, filled with meaning and value. 11. Stop comparing yourself. Comparisons. Another hot topic, don't you think? If there were a counter for how many times we've looked at others to measure what we lack, it would probably show an absurdly high number. This constant comparison is like carrying a backpack full of stones that don't belong to you, yet you still choose to carry them. The problem isn't in admiring others, it's in thinking you can fill your own gaps by trying to be like them. And I don't blame you. It's almost inevitable when we're surrounded by displays of the perfect life, the perfect car, the perfect house. You know what I mean. Social media feels like a malicious platform designed to make you feel less than. But here's the truth. It's up to you where you choose to focus. Picture this. Imagine you're rowing down a river. You've got your own raft and your own paddles, but instead of rowing, you spend your time looking at the boat next to you. That boat is bigger. It doesn't even have paddles. It's got giant motors. It almost steers itself. And what do you tell yourself? You don't say, "Wow, look at me. I'm proving my worth as a rower despite having less." Be honest, that's not what you'd think, is it? It's probably more like, "Why don't I have that big boat? I always have to work twice as hard to get half as much." See the problem? This isn't just a metaphor, it's the endless scroll on social media. The conversations with your partner about the neighbor's new car. Enough already. While you're stuck in those thoughts, your raft is drifting, stagnant. What good is having your own paddle if you don't use it? Marcus Aurelius wrote centuries ago, "Stop arguing about what a good man should be one." It's not about what others are doing. It's about what you choose to do with your life, your time, and your energy. Do you feel like your achievements aren't enough because you compared them to someone else's? Maybe a friend bought a bigger house, a coworker got a promotion, or someone on social media seems to be living a flawless life. But let me tell you something. What you see from others is just a small part, a facade. You can't measure your life with a ruler that doesn't belong to you. Think of it this way. Comparing yourself to others is like trying to use someone else's compass to find your way. It doesn't work. Only you know where you want to go and what you need to get there. The right compass isn't out there, it's within you. But how do you stop comparing yourself in a world filled with marketing, filters, and aesthetics? Start by taking inventory of your achievements. Recognize what you've accomplished, no matter how small it may seem. Those steps are yours, and no one can take them away from you. Next, create your own goals. Define what truly matters to you, not what others say should matter. And my friend, practice gratitude. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, appreciate what you do have. Gratitude will shift your perspective. The Stoics taught us that true success isn't about surpassing others, but about surpassing the person you were yesterday. That's the only comparison that makes sense. Let me leave you with one last question. What could you achieve if you stopped wasting your life looking sideways and focused only on your own path? The answer isn't in what others are doing, it's in what you decide to do from now on. So drop that backpack full of stones that don't belong to you and start rowing with strength. Because here's a secret, my friend. Your life doesn't need to be better than anyone else's. It needs to be authentic and aligned with who you are. I invite you to apply these lessons to your daily life and stop wasting your time. This isn't something that will happen overnight, but every small step you take will bring you closer to the full and meaningful life you deserve. Be the person who, instead of comparing themselves or fearing failure, rises with determination and keeps building their own path. Now, my friend, if these lessons have been of value to you, I ask you to stay with me a little longer. What you're about to hear isn't just any reflection. It's a gentle yet direct blow to the noise that won't let you sleep, to the dark thoughts that creep in just as you close your eyes, to the guilt, to the mind's self-torment. Because if you want to live each day with the serenity of a Stoic, you need to learn how to silence that storm before it even begins. What I'm about to share with you is here to help you kill, firmly and without mercy, every thought that made you believe you're not enough. Breathe, relax, and stay. What's coming next might be exactly what your mind has been needing. We all have a hidden enemy, an enemy that, if we don't keep it in check, takes over our lives. It paralyzes us with doubt and fills us with fear. Let me tell you something, that enemy isn't out there. It's not that relative who keeps pointing out your mistakes, or that boss who's never satisfied with your work. That enemy is inside you, it's in your mind. It's that little voice whispering, "You're not going to make it. This is too hard," or "What if something goes terribly wrong?" Sounds familiar, doesn't it? That whisper might seem harmless, but it slowly eats away at you. It drags you down into the deepest negativity, making it impossible to see the light, even on the sunniest day. That enemy is negative thinking. But here's the truth. It doesn't have to be this way. You have the power to face that enemy, disarm it, and bring it to its knees. Today, I'll show you how, using the wisdom of Stoicism, blended with modern psychological techniques. Yes, my friend, stick with me until the end, and you'll leave this video turning your thoughts into loyal servants instead of dictators ruling your life. Ready to take back control of your mind and your life? Let's begin. 1. Find the root of the problem. Let's get serious from the start. Think about that unanswered message, that glance you interpreted as disrespect, or that tiny mistake you just can't forgive yourself for. Be honest with yourself. Those little mental storms that seem uncontrollable don't appear out of nowhere. It all starts with a seed you've let grow, a negative thought that's consuming you. But here's an important question. Isn't it time to pull it out by the roots? Let's dig into the source. The Stoics knew something we often forget. Our emotions and reactions are the echoes of our thoughts. Epictetus put it plainly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Pay attention to this. It's not your boss's criticism, your friend's comment, or that stranger's look that throws you off balance. It's your interpretation of it. Negativity doesn't come from the outside. It's created in your mind, like a small cloud that quickly covers your entire sky. Picture this. You're carrying an invisible backpack. Each time you feed a negative thought, you add a stone to it. At first, you don't feel it. You're strong. You can carry it for miles. But over time, that load becomes unbearable. Too many stones in your anxiety-filled backpack. The first step to lightening it is to open it up and examine what's inside. This is a key Stoic exercise. Question your thoughts. In his meditations, Marcus Aurelius teaches us to ask, "Is this under my control? If it's not, why does it affect me?" This kind of reflection not only weakens negative thoughts, but strips them of their power over you. It's like pulling stones out of your backpack, with each one being a thought you let go of. Let's be clear. Identifying the root of your thoughts isn't something you do overnight. The Stoics didn't sit around waiting for enlightenment. They practiced daily introspection, like gardeners inspecting every corner of their minds for weeds. Seneca reminds us, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectation, which depends on tomorrow and wastes today." What does this mean? Your negative thoughts are rooted in unrealistic expectations, anticipated fears, or memories you can't let go of. Recognizing this is liberating. It allows you to focus on what truly matters, the present. According to a study by psychologist Martin Seligman, the founder of positive psychology, people who can reinterpret events in a realistic way experience less anxiety and greater emotional well-being. In other words, when you change how you understand an event, you change how it affects you. It sounds simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Now, let's bring this back to you. How can you apply this in your daily life? Write your negative thoughts down on paper. If you do it for something as trivial as a shopping list, why not for something as important as your peace of mind? Then ask yourself, is this true? Is there another way to see it? Finally, all the drama your mind has invented has to go. Replace those negative thoughts with more realistic and constructive ones. For example, if you think, I'm not good enough, replace it with, I'm learning and improving every day. Tie each thought to an action, no matter how small. That's the key. Remember, getting rid of negativity isn't a passive process. It's a constant practice of observation and action. But here's the good news. The more you do it, the lighter you'll feel. Take control of your thoughts. It's a daily effort, yes, but it's worth it. 2. Free yourself from fear. Let me ask you a straightforward question. How many opportunities have you missed because of fear? Fear of failure, fear of the unknown, fear of what others might think. Fear doesn't just hold you back, it ties you down, like being chained to an invisible post. But here's the truth no one tells you. Fear itself isn't the problem. The problem is how you feed it, how you let it grow until it becomes a giant that controls you. Isn't it time to break those chains? The Stoics had a very different relationship with fear. For them, it wasn't something to avoid, but something to understand and confront. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it, and this you have the power to revoke at any moment." Think about that. It's not uncertainty, criticism, or even failure that paralyzes you. It's the story you tell yourself about what might happen. Picture fear as a shadow. The more you avoid it, the larger and scarier it seems. But when you turn around and face it, you realize it's just a projection, an illusion created by your mind. The Stoics practiced premeditatio malorum, a powerful tool I invite you to try. It involves imagining in detail the worst-case scenario. What if you fail? What if you lose? Then ask yourself, can I handle it? Can I learn from it? Spoiler alert, the answer is almost always yes. Let me share something interesting. A recent study by Susan Jeffers, author of Fear, the Friend of Exceptional People, shows that fear significantly decreases when we take action, even small steps. Simply moving toward what you fear reduces its grip. It's like crossing a bridge that looks shaky from afar but feels solid when you step on it. Action is the antidote to fear. So how can you break free from fear and take back control? Here are 3 practical steps. First, identify exactly what you're afraid of. Be specific, because fear thrives on vagueness. The more room you give your imagination, the stronger those negative thoughts become. Second, use premeditatio malorum. Picture the worst-case scenario and visualize how you deal with it. Do it with courage. Only then can you face the truth. Third, take action. Don't wait to feel brave. Courage comes after you take the first step. Let's be clear, fear won't disappear completely, but that doesn't mean it has to rule you. Each time you face it, it becomes smaller, more manageable. I'm not telling you to ignore fear, I'm telling you to use it as a compass. Wherever you feel fear, there's likely your greatest opportunity for growth. This isn't about staring down a hungry lion and standing still. I'm not asking you to be reckless. I'm simply asking for the courage to take command of your life. So what will you do today to break free from the chains of fear? The choice is yours. Before we move on, if you're finding value in this content, consider subscribing and becoming an exclusive member for unique perks. And tell us in the comments, will you dare to push past the barrier of fear? How will you do it? We'd love to hear from you and grow together with you. 3. Talk to yourself like a Stoic. Let me tell you about my friend Javier. From the outside, Javier seemed like he had it all together. A good job, friends, family. But one day he opened up to me. He confessed that he was fighting a constant battle in his mind. Every time he made a mistake, he'd tell himself things like, "I'm so useless, I'll never get it right." Or, "Why even try if I always fail?" Believe me, his words were like a hammer he used to crush his own self-esteem over and over. And the worst part? He didn't even realize he was doing it. Sound familiar? Because if you're honest with yourself, maybe you've spoken to yourself like that too. Let's face it, no one talks to you more than you do, and the words you say to yourself have a far greater impact than any external criticism. The Stoics understood this well. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." Think about it. If your inner dialogue is filled with negativity, it's like walking around with shoes full of stones. On the outside, you might look fine, but every step gets heavier and more painful. The problem isn't out there, it's within. The good news? You can fix it from within too. Psychologist Carl Jung delved into how our words and thoughts form part of our shadow, the unconscious side of ourselves we often ignore. According to Jung, what we repress or deny in our internal dialogue doesn't disappear. Instead, it grows and takes control of our emotions from the shadows. He said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." What does this mean? Every time you speak negatively to yourself, you're not just reinforcing your fears. You're turning them into automatic patterns that control your decisions. Scary, right? Let's go back to Javier. One day I asked him, "If a friend of yours made a mistake, what would you say to them?" He went silent. So I said, "Now ask yourself this. Why do you speak to yourself in a way you'd never use with someone you care about?" That question changed everything for him. Little by little, he started questioning how he spoke to himself and replaced harsh words with kinder ones. It wasn't easy or immediate, but each small step helped him heal the invisible wounds he had been inflicting on himself. The Stoics practiced something similar. Instead of drowning in destructive self-criticism, they turned their thoughts into tools for learning. Seneca summed it up perfectly. To err is human, but to persist in error is diabolical. What does this mean for you? It means it's okay to make mistakes, but it's not okay to punish yourself for them endlessly. Let it go. Forgive yourself. You're human, my friend, not perfect. Your inner dialogue is like a compass. If that compass is thrown off by negative thoughts, it will always lead you in the wrong direction. But when you recalibrate it with words of encouragement, it starts pointing you toward the right path. That doesn't mean there won't be bumps along the way, but it does mean you'll have a clearer guide to keep moving forward. If you want to start talking to yourself like a Stoic, pay attention to what runs through your mind when you face a challenge. Pause and notice the exact words you're using. Write them down and look at them from an outside perspective. Ask yourself if those words are helping you or dragging you down. Then, for goodness sake, give yourself a break and be kinder to yourself. For example, instead of thinking, "I never get it right," say, "I'm learning something new, and that takes time." Spend a few minutes each night reflecting on your inner dialogue. What can you improve tomorrow? You're not going to become perfect or stop making mistakes, but trust me, when you start speaking to yourself with the same wisdom and compassion the Stoics practiced, something shifts. Your mind stops being a battlefield and becomes a place where you can find clarity and strength. And remember, if you're not on your own side, who will be? 4. You are not what you think. Tell me if this sounds familiar. I'm not enough. I always fail. I'll never change. These thoughts creep in uninvited, but let me tell you something. You are not what you think. Those negative whispers you accidentally gift yourself are nothing but noise, like a neighbor shouting from their window about how you should live your life. You can hear them, but that doesn't mean they're right or that you have to listen. Epictetus put it perfectly. It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. When you stop identifying with your negative thoughts, you strip them of their power. It's not the neighbor's comment or a stranger's glance that affects you. It's how you choose to interpret it. You can keep dwelling on it or decide it's not worth your energy. The same goes for your thoughts, my friend. Just because they come from your own mind doesn't make them the absolute truth. Think of someone like Nelson Mandela. He spent 27 years in prison, yet when he was released, he didn't let hate or thoughts of revenge define him. He famously said, "I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul." Mandela could have let negativity consume him. Nobody would have blamed him. After all, he was unjustly imprisoned. But do you know what he did? He chose the opposite. He chose to kill negative thinking and nurture the kind of thoughts that would help him move forward. So what about you? When your mind betrays you, do you give it power, or do you decide who's in charge? Your negative thoughts are like that relative who always has something bad to say. You always mess up. You'll never succeed. If you go along with them, you'll end up believing those words. But if you ignore them, they gradually lose their strength. Mastering negative thinking doesn't mean eliminating it forever. It means refusing to let it control you. It's a visitor, not the owner of your house. Carol Dweck discovered something critical. People with a fixed mindset identify with their thoughts and believe their mistakes define who they are. On the other hand, those with a growth mindset see negative thoughts as challenges to overcome. By reframing them, they learn, grow, and build their self-esteem instead of crumbling under the weight of their doubts. So how can you put this into practice? When negativity invades your mind, pause and observe it. Ask yourself, is this true, or is my mind exaggerating? If a thought says, "I can't," respond with, "I'm learning." Every time you do this, you're silencing that voice trying to hold you back. Don't let your thoughts dictate your life. You are not what you think. You are what you choose to do with those thoughts. Each time you ignore that little voice trying to drag you down, you're declaring, "Here I am and I'm in charge." Remember this, you are not the noise in your mind. You are the person who can silence it. 5. If it doesn't serve you, change it. What do you do when a pen runs out of ink? Do you keep pressing it against the paper, scratching away with nothing to show for it, growing more frustrated with each attempt? Of course not. You grab another pen and keep writing. So tell me, why do you hold on to thoughts that take you nowhere? The ones that drag you down and make you feel like you can't move forward. If a pen stops writing, you replace it. Why not do the same with what's in your mind? Replaying harmful thoughts in your head is like wearing shoes that are too small. Every step you take hurts a little more, leaves marks, and slows you down. But what do you do when shoes start to hurt? You take them off and find a pair that fits. It's the same with your thoughts. If they hold you back or limit you, it's time to change them. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your perception of it." If you believe you can't change, my friend, you're wrong. The problem is you've told yourself that story so many times, you've started to believe it. But here's an interesting fact. Changing that internal dialogue is not only possible, it can transform your life. Switching "I can't" to "I'm learning" might seem small, but it's the difference between giving up and moving forward. And this isn't just about empty motivational quotes or feel-good mantras. Neuroscience backs this up too. According to a study by Dr. Andrew Huberman, our brains form new connections every time we choose a different thought from our usual pattern. Picture it like walking through a muddy path. The first step is hard, but over time you carve out a new trail that leads to a better destination. Changing what doesn't serve you is about creating that new path for your mind. Think of it this way. Use your thoughts like you use your tools. If you're trying to hammer a nail with a screwdriver, it doesn't matter how hard you try, it won't work. But grab the right hammer, and the job's done in seconds. The same goes for your mind. If a thought isn't working for you, stop using it. Replace it with something that does. Swap out that old, rusty tool for one that's shiny, sharp, and productive. Are you ready to change what doesn't serve you? Share in the comments which thought you're going to replace today. Dare to write it down. It'll help you stay committed to yourself. I'll be watching and ready to respond to support you. We're here to help each other grow. And remember, every small change in your mind can create a massive difference in your life. The time to start is now. 6. Don't let others infect you. Have you ever noticed how the emotions and thoughts of the people around you can influence your own? It's like sitting in front of the news and hearing an endless list of bad stories, crises, conflicts, disasters. Even if you were having a good day, that bombardment starts to cloud your mind. Why? Because negative emotions, much like the flu, are contagious. It's like being in a smoke-filled room. Even if you're not the one smoking, you still end up inhaling it. That's how negativity works. If you surround yourself with people who always see the worst in everything, it won't take long before you start thinking the same way. But here's the key. You don't have to stay in that room. You can step outside, or you can open a window and let in some fresh air. You don't have to absorb everything coming at you from the outside. You can choose what enters your mind and what doesn't. The Stoics figured this out centuries ago. Seneca said, "Surround yourself with people who can make you better and strive to improve those around you." This doesn't mean ignoring the world or becoming indifferent. It means recognizing that you have the power to avoid being dragged down by the negativity around you. When you do this, you save your energy and focus for the things that truly matter. Think of it this way. Watching the news and soaking up all that negativity is like opening a window during a storm. You can't stop the rain outside, but you can stop it from flooding your house. Similarly, you can protect yourself from the emotional impact of others or the media on your well-being. It's not about isolating yourself. It's about choosing which influences you allow into your life. Psychology backs this up. According to a study by Dr. Daniel Goleman, author of the groundbreaking Emotional Intelligence, negative emotions are highly contagious. But by developing emotional awareness, we can neutralize them. Taking a moment to reflect and understand what's genuinely yours and what's coming from others builds an emotional barrier that shields you from external chaos. So how can you avoid being infected by others, especially when they're constantly predicting the apocalypse? First, pay attention to what you consume. If the constant stream of news or social media makes you anxious, step away. Trust me, you'll find fresh air in a park, not on Twitter. Next, surround yourself with people who add value to your life, who inspire you, or who help you grow. Finally, invest time in strengthening your mind through practices like meditation, reading uplifting texts, or simply enjoying moments of silence. When you build a strong mind, the external noise loses its power. Killing negative thinking isn't just about internal work. It's also about protecting yourself from external influences. Choosing what you let into your life is an act of self-care and self-love. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their negativity, or the world tries to overwhelm you with noise, remember, you have the power to choose. 7. Cut it out at the root when necessary. Picture a garden you want to keep vibrant and full of life. One day weeds start to appear. At first, they don't seem like a problem. They're small, easy to ignore. You don't pay attention and let them grow. Weeks later, you realize they've taken over, choking everything you worked so hard to cultivate. The same thing happens with negative thoughts. They creep into your mind unnoticed, and if you don't stand firm, they take up all your mental space. Like weeds, if you don't pull them out at the root, they'll spread and eventually consume you. So why keep letting them stay? Seneca once said, "A wise man is content with his soul and therefore doesn't need the approval of others." When you tolerate what harms you, you're not caring for your soul. You're letting others or your own thoughts take control. Marcus Aurelius warned us too. It is ridiculous to try to escape your own vices, which is possible, while trying to escape the vices of others, which is impossible. This isn't just about others. It's about what you allow to linger in your life, including within your own mind. Let me share something personal. For years, I carried things I didn't need. I'd say I was fine, but deep down, I knew something was off. I stayed silent to avoid conflict, tolerated attitudes that hurt me, and worst of all, justified thoughts that weakened me. I told myself things like, "It's my fault. It's better to say nothing," or "Maybe I'm overreacting." But one day, after a particularly bitter argument with a friend who always made me feel small, I stopped. I sat in silence and asked myself, why do I keep allowing this? How much longer am I going to carry something that doesn't belong to me? It was like everything finally clicked. I wasn't protecting my peace. I was sacrificing it, letting negativity take over. Think about this. Allowing harmful things to stay in your life, whether it's a person, a situation, or a thought, is like keeping a rotten fruit in your basket. Sooner or later, it starts to spoil everything else. Cutting things out at the root isn't easy, but it's the only way to protect what truly matters. When I decided to cut out what was hurting me, it wasn't simple. Stepping away from certain people and confronting my own thoughts forced me to question a lot of things, but every time I said no to something that didn't serve me, it felt like I was dropping another stone from the backpack I had been carrying for so long. Bit by bit, I started feeling lighter, freer. How can you start cutting out what doesn't serve you? First, identify what truly drains you. Those relationships, thoughts, or situations that, when you're honest with yourself, only cause harm. Next, decide what boundaries you need to set. You don't have to be drastic, but you do need to be clear. Finally, stick to your decisions. You don't have to justify yourself or convince anyone. This is your life, and you have the right to take care of it. Remember, cutting things out at the root isn't selfish, it's self-love. It's like pruning a tree. Removing a branch might hurt, but it's the only way to let it grow stronger. I want you to reflect. What do you need to cut out at the root in your life? Be honest with yourself, and if you want to share, I'll be reading your comments. 8. Eliminate stress. Stress is like that uninvited guest who shows up at your house, plops down on your favorite couch, and starts turning everything upside down. At first, you think you can handle it, but before you know it, it's taken over. Sound familiar? The worst part is that stress doesn't just affect how you feel, it messes with how you think. And here's the real issue. When stress is in charge, it becomes fertile ground for negative thoughts to thrive. Isn't it time to ask that guest to leave? I didn't always know how to handle stress. There was a time when every day felt like a race against the clock. Endless tasks, other people's expectations, and that constant voice in my head telling me, "You're not doing enough." It was like trying to carry a mountain on my shoulders. Until one day I just couldn't do it anymore. I stopped, sat in silence, and asked myself, why am I living like this? What's the point of all this if I'm completely drained, physically and mentally? The Stoics offer a powerful perspective on stress. Marcus Aurelius summed it up perfectly. Remember, it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. This means it's not the endless to-do list or the external demands that truly weigh you down. It's how you choose to face them. Stress isn't defeated by fighting it. It's managed by changing how you perceive it. Picture this. You're paddling against a strong current. Stress is like rowing upstream. You exhaust yourself, make no progress, and grow more frustrated. But if you shift your focus and flow with the current, you discover you can move forward without constant struggle. Managing stress is the same. It's not about avoiding challenges, but learning how to navigate through them. I get it. There's a lot to deal with. Kids who need your attention, work that never seems to end, a sick relative you're caring for, and even simple tasks like grocery shopping that feel like impossible mountains to climb. You wake up with a mental checklist, and before the day even starts, you're already drained. Stress doesn't just pile up in your body, it takes over your mind. And that's when negative thoughts sneak in. I can't handle this. Everything's going wrong. Nothing I do is ever enough. Stress becomes the perfect breeding ground for these harmful ideas to grow unchecked. The problem is that when you're overwhelmed, those thoughts become your only narrative. It's like having an internal loudspeaker that amplifies everything bad and drowns out any sense of calm. But here's the key. Stress doesn't have to define you. You can't eliminate it entirely, but you can stop it from fueling more negativity. If you let stress dominate, you open the door to mental chaos. But if you take control, You can shut that door before those negative thoughts even get in. When everything feels like too much, take a moment to pause. Ask yourself, what really matters today? You might not cross off everything on your list, but prioritizing what's essential gives you room to breathe. And here's another secret. You don't have to do it all alone. Asking for help isn't a sign of failure, it's a sign of strength. Delegating doesn't just lighten your load, it helps you see things more clearly. Think of stress like an overly tightened rope. If you don't loosen it, it will snap, and so will you. But if you decide to let go a little, the rope regains its shape, and everything falls back into place. Ending negative thinking starts by addressing the root that feeds it, and that root is often unchecked stress. So the next time you feel like you're at your limit, ask yourself, what can I leave for tomorrow? What can I let go of right now? And remember, taking care of your mind and your peace is always more important than any to-do list. 9. Let yourself be helped. You're not a superhero. Why do you insist on carrying everything on your own? It's like trying to move a giant sofa up a staircase by yourself. You know you can't do it, but you keep pushing, sweating, and exhausting yourself. And when you can't make it, guess who shows up? That familiar voice of negativity. I should have been able to do it. I'm such a failure. Sound familiar? Let me tell you something. You're not designed to do it all alone. No one is. When you convince yourself that asking for help is a sign of weakness, you let pride and fear fill you with negativity. But here's the truth. Admitting you need help isn't a sign of failure. It's an act of courage. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca said, "There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility lies in being superior to your former self." Accepting help is one of the wisest ways to push past your limits and grow. Think of a castle. It might have tall, strong walls, but if there's no drawbridge to let others in, it becomes a prison. Your mind works the same way. If you shut others out, you're isolating yourself from solutions, fresh perspectives, and the support that could lighten your load. Science backs this up. Dr. John Cacioppo, a leading expert in social neuroscience, found that isolation and a lack of emotional support increase cortisol levels, the stress hormone, and harm mental health. On the other hand, asking for help significantly reduces stress and fosters a sense of connection that strengthens resilience. Asking for help isn't just useful, it's essential for your well-being. Now picture this. You're on a boat in the middle of a storm. The waves are high, the wind is fierce, and you're alone at the helm. You're struggling to stay on course, but it's getting harder with each passing moment. What do? Keep fighting until the boat capsizes, or let someone else take the helm for a moment so you can catch your breath. Life works the same way. Asking for help during the storm doesn't mean you stop being the captain of your ship. It means allowing others to help keep it afloat. The next time you feel like you're at your limit, think about what you truly need. Sometimes help comes as advice, a helping hand, or even just someone to listen. But for that to happen, you have to be willing to open the door and accept that you can't do it all. It's not weakness, it's being human. Remember this, letting yourself be helped doesn't make you less strong, it makes you wiser. Because no matter how strong you are, even superheroes have a team behind them. Or do you think Batman would be the same without Robin? 10. You set goals and go after them. Have you ever felt like you're wandering aimlessly, as if you're stuck in a maze with no way out? Day after day, repeating the same routines, yet not knowing where you're headed. It's easy to feel lost in life when you don't have a clear goal, when there's no real reason to get out of bed with purpose every morning. Sound familiar? Then why keep letting life push you around instead of taking control? Setting goals isn't just a luxury, it's like having a map in unfamiliar territory. Without them, every step feels meaningless. With them, every move has purpose. Marcus Aurelius understood this. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. But those thoughts shouldn't just be positive, they need direction. Goals not only give you a sense of purpose, but they're also a powerful antidote to the negative thoughts that creep in when you feel lost. Let me share a story. Pablo, someone I used to know, was stuck in a cycle of negativity. He lost his job, his partner left him, and over time, he started believing he was worthless. Every day was the same. He'd wake up late, sit in front of the TV, and let the hours slip away. Then one day, a friend asked him, "If you could change one thing in your life right now, what would it be?" Pablo didn't have an answer at first, but that question stuck with him. Eventually, he decided he wanted to pursue something he'd always been passionate about: graphic design. At first, it was a small step, but having that goal reignited his motivation. He made a plan, signed up for an online course, and slowly began to rebuild his confidence. Each new skill he learned felt like a step closer to his goal. The negative thoughts didn't vanish overnight, but they started losing their grip. Pablo stopped feeling like a ship adrift and began steering his life towards something meaningful. Do you see what he did? He didn't solve everything at once, but by setting a goal, he reclaimed his purpose. Having goals is like building a house. At first, you're staring at an empty lot and an idea in your mind. It's easy to feel overwhelmed thinking about all that's missing: the walls, the roof, the windows. But you don't have to do it all at once. You lay one brick at a time, patiently, and soon you'll see your efforts taking shape. Goals are just like that, a process of constructing something solid, step by step, until you have a place that feels like home. You don't have to start with massive goals. Start small, but start. Ask yourself, what do I want to achieve? What can I do today to take one step closer? It can be as simple as learning something new, dedicating time to yourself, or picking up a project you left behind. The size of the goal doesn't matter. What matters is the sense of purpose it brings to your life. When things get tough, and they will, don't lose sight of why you started. The Stoics called it prohairesis, the ability to choose your actions based on what truly matters, instead of being swept away by circumstances. When you have a clear goal, no matter how many obstacles you encounter, you'll always know where you're headed. Give your life meaning with a goal that excites you, and let that goal be the hammer that smashes the negativity holding you back. With every small step forward, you'll prove to yourself that the effort is worth it. So tell me, what's that goal you've been putting off for too long? Share it in the comments and stick around just a little longer, because there's a final surprise that will help you end negative thinking for good. 11. Stay strong no matter what. Life can feel like a game where everything seems stacked against you. The obstacles are the opposing team, the crowd is silent, and you feel like the scoreboard keeps dropping. In those moments, stress and negativity creep into your mind. I can't do this. It's over. Why bother? But here's the secret. Stop listening to those voices and focus on your next move. It doesn't matter how many times you stumble. What matters is that you don't quit the game. A powerful example of resilience is Helen Keller. Born without sight or hearing, she faced challenges most of us can't even imagine. Yet she refused to let her circumstances define her. With the help of her teacher and unshakable determination, Helen learned to communicate, write, and change the world's perception of disability. She once said, "Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all." Helen didn't wait for perfect circumstances. She chose to move forward, one step at a time, no matter how hard it was. Stop searching for excuses and start seeing every challenge as an opportunity. Marcus Aurelius said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." If every time something goes wrong you stop and let negativity win, you'll never move forward. But if you see challenges as training, as the weights you need to lift to build your strength, you'll realize that every obstacle is, in fact, a chance to grow. Picture your mind as a lighthouse in the middle of a storm. The wind and waves try to extinguish its light, but they can't. The light keeps shining, guiding the way. That light is your determination. As long as you stay focused, no storm can stop you. But if you let the waves distract you, you'll lose your way. Psychology supports this idea. Edith Grotberg, an expert on resilience, found that people who develop internal resources to face adversity, handle stress better, and build the mental strength to regain control during tough times. She explains that resilience comes from finding meaning in challenging experiences and using that insight to move forward. It's like reinforcing the foundation of your lighthouse. The stronger the base, the brighter the light. Stop waiting for things to get better on their own. Take control now. When things get tough, ask yourself this: what can I control right now? Don't focus on what's out of your hands. Focus on what is. Move forward, even if it's just one small step. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, not those who hold you back. And above all, keep your eyes on your values. They'll give you the strength to endure no matter what. Staying strong doesn't mean you won't waver. It means that even when you're shaken, you won't fall. It's deciding that nothing and no one can dim your light. So tell me, what are you going to do today to stay strong? I invite you to put these lessons into practice in your daily life and take control of your thoughts. Remember, eliminating negativity doesn't happen overnight, but every small step you take strengthens your mind and transforms your life. Be the person who faces challenges with calm, purpose, and courage. My friend, it's time to dive into the third part of this video. Because if you've made it this far, it's not just because you were looking for calm. It's because deep down, you know you can't keep going the way you have. What's coming next isn't just to help you sleep better. It's meant to awaken something inside you that can truly make a difference. Get ready, because what's coming next isn't a gentle caress. It's a shake-up. The time has come to change your mind in order to change your life. Do you dare? Look at yourself. You're tired of it all, I know. And yet you're still there, stuck in the same defeated mindset, waiting for something to change without lifting a finger. How long are you going to keep hiding behind your excuses? Here's the harsh truth. If you don't change your attitude now, life will crush you. Because it's not the world that's holding you back. It's you. You're falling, and you don't even see it. Every day you put off change is another step toward a life that doesn't belong to you. A life you didn't choose, but one you're accepting by default. Today, I'm here to tell you something that maybe no one has dared to say. You are the problem, but you're also the solution. In this video, we're going to uncover the most powerful weapon you have, your attitude, and how to use it to break free from this cycle of frustration, fear, and stagnation. Through Stoicism, you'll learn to look chaos in the eye and face it with strength, with clarity, with power. Because transformation doesn't begin when everything around you changes. It begins the moment you decide to change from within. Today, you're going to learn how to reclaim your place, how to take control, because staying the way you are is no longer an option. Before we begin, let me tell you the story of someone who felt completely lost, until she decided to change the only thing she truly had control over, her attitude. Clarice didn't believe in miracles or in dreams. She said those were for people in the movies. Her feet were stuck to the ground, or rather buried in routine. Every day she'd wake up at 5, open her aunt's bakery, and serve the same customers as always, with the same fake smile as always. Inside, she was exhausted, and not just from work. She was tired of everything. Of that town where nothing ever happened, of the same old conversations, of other people's expectations. But more than anything, she was tired of herself. Because the saddest part wasn't that her life was dull. The saddest part was that she had already accepted it would never change. What's the point? She told herself. Who am I to dream of something more? And even though it hurt deep down, she'd built herself a shield. Sarcasm, constant complaining, negativity. Clarice couldn't stand people who talked about believing in yourself. She called them naive. Optimists made her angry. She said they were delusional. But the truth was, she had already given up, without ever really trying. Until one day, while sweeping the bakery entrance, she heard a phrase on the radio that made her frown. "Act as if you already had it." She scoffed. "What nonsense," she muttered. But that phrasing stuck with her. It was like it had challenged her. That night, for the first time in a long while, Clarice didn't turn on the TV. She just sat there in the dark, staring at her dusty bookshelf, thinking about how much she'd love to have a bookstore, a real one. With the smell of new books, people asking her for recommendations, quiet afternoons full of stories. And for some reason, instead of saying I can't, she asked herself, what if I start acting like I already had one? The next day, without telling anyone, she cleared a corner of her living room and placed the few books she owned there. She organized them, labeled them by hand, made up sections, added a chair, a lamp, and even wrote reviews. It was a small and clumsy setup, but for the first time in years, Clarice felt excited. She started inviting friends over. At first they laughed, of course, but slowly things changed. They brought her books, asked for recommendations, stayed to chat. Some even brought others along. On Saturday afternoons, her living room was full of people, full of stories, full of life. And it was on one of those afternoons that an old man from the town, a regular at the bakery, came up to her and said, I have an abandoned space downtown. No one wants it, but you could turn it into something special. Clarice blinked. Me? I don't even have the money to fix it up. You don't need money, he said. You just need attitude. And that's how, months later, Clarice opened her own bookstore. Not because she got lucky, not because the universe conspired in her favor, but because one day she stopped complaining and started acting like everything she wanted was already on its way. The funny thing is, nothing had changed. Same town, same neighbors, same street. But something had radically shifted, her way of seeing things. She no longer felt trapped. She wasn't waiting for life to change in order to take action. It was as if, by changing her attitude, she'd taken the blindfold off. And then you understand what the Stoics have been saying for centuries. It's not what happens to you, but how you interpret it. Epictetus put it in a sentence that now makes perfect sense to her. It's not things that disturb us, but our opinion about them. Clarice didn't need to escape her life to change it. She just had to face it with new eyes. And that small gesture, that quiet decision, changed everything. What about you? Are you going to keep telling yourself that the world is against you? Or are you going to start moving like you're already winning? Before we continue, if something in this message is lighting a fire inside you, consider subscribing and becoming an exclusive member to access content that will support you in your transformation. And drop us a comment. What new attitude are you going to adopt today to take control of your life? Or just write, I am a Stoic. From today on, I'll let my attitude speak louder than my excuses. Let that be your promise to yourself. 1. What if you start by changing how you think? Picture this. It's Sunday night. You already feel the weight of the week pressing down on you. You glance at your calendar and see meetings, deadlines, commitments, and you think, there's no way I'm going to get through all of this. Something's bound to go wrong. You already imagine yourself stuck in traffic, running late, eating cold meals, and dragging your mood around like dead weight. You even expect it to rain the exact moment you step outside, because of course everything's going to go wrong. Sound familiar? Now flip the scene. Imagine looking at that same agenda with a different mindset. All right, it's going to be a full week, but I'm going to get organized. I've got this. This week I'm going to bring out the best in me. Sounds completely different, doesn't it? And no, this isn't about pretending everything is sunshine and rainbows or denying the challenges ahead. It's about how your attitude can radically shift the course of your days. The other day, I heard a coach say something that stuck with me. If you think your body hurts because you're broken, you'll experience it as suffering. But if you think it hurts because you're getting stronger, you'll feel it as growth. And it makes total sense. You change the way you see what's happening to you, and what's happening to you starts to change shape. You know why? Epictetus had the answer. It's not things that upset us, but the opinions we have about them. And that's what you need to understand today. Just like Clarice, the main character in the story you heard earlier. Now imagine your mind like a radio station. If you're always tuned in to Complaints FM, everything sounds awful. The traffic, your coworkers, your body, your entire life. But if you shift the dial to Optimism Stereo, even setbacks sound like opportunities in disguise. And no, this isn't some cliche. It's neuroscience. Canadian psychologist Dr. Susan David, author of Emotional Agility, confirms it. She says, "How we deal with our emotions determines everything that matters: our actions, our careers, our relationships, our health and happiness. Changing your attitude isn't a luxury. It's a necessity if you want to live with purpose, with meaning, and with direction." So how do you do it? How do you go from automatic complaining to a mindset that lifts you up? First, turn off the mental autopilot. Every time a thought pops up like "this is going to go wrong" or "I don't have time for anything," hit pause. Question it. Is everything really going to go wrong? Do you really not have even 5 minutes? Second, reframe the way you talk to yourself. Run it through a fairer filter. Instead of saying "I'm a mess," try "I'm still figuring it out." Sounds different, right? Because it is. It's not about lying to yourself, it's about telling yourself the version that helps you grow. Third, speak to yourself the way you would speak to your best friend. Would you say, "You're pathetic"? Of course not. You'd say, "You're doing your best. Keep going." So talk to yourself that way, because if you don't have your own back, who will? Changing your attitude doesn't mean life suddenly gets easy. You don't need the outside world to shift in order to start feeling different on the inside. You just need to choose which thoughts you'll let in and which voice you'll tune into in your head. The world might still be chaotic, sure, but you don't have to keep sinking in it. You can start floating, then rowing, and one day, without even realizing it, you'll be building your own path. And that change, my friend, doesn't start out there. It starts within you. Change your attitude and you'll start to see everything else shift. Because the moment you choose how to look at life, life begins to look back at you differently. 2. Without discipline, you won't even get halfway there. Tell me honestly, my friend, how many times have you set out to do something important, only to not even try in the end? You have dreams, ideas, goals, and at first, it feels like you're full of fuel. But once you get going, somewhere along the way, you stall. Because between what you dream and what you achieve, there's a road. And no, it's not that dusty back road in your town that leads nowhere. The one even the mailman avoids because he always gets lost. No, this road has a name and it's as clear as asphalt under the sun. It's called discipline. And if anyone knew about discipline, it was Marcus Aurelius. In the chaos of the empire, he wrote in his meditations, "Do what nature requires. Don't be distracted by anything else." That's exactly what happens when you practice discipline. You stop doing what you feel like doing and start doing what needs to be done. Even when you don't feel like it. Even when you're tired. Even when no one claps for you. Because deep down you know that's what transforms you. Psychologist Dan Ariely, who spent his life researching how we make decisions, discovered something eye-opening. Most of our impulsive decisions sabotage us. Like when you say, "I won't work out today, it's too cold," or "I'll tidy up tomorrow." But he also found something powerful. When we give ourselves small rules, like not checking your phone before breakfast or keeping a water bottle on your desk to remind you to stay hydrated, our performance improves. And not just that, so does our mental health. This is something Will Smith lives by. He's so disciplined. He says he doesn't even see himself as the most talented, just the most consistent. He puts it like this: if we both get on a treadmill, either you're getting off first or I die on that treadmill. Simple as that. That's his rule. It's not about motivation, it's about commitment. About knowing that no matter what, there are things that get done. Period. Now imagine this. You've been saying for weeks that you need to improve your home workspace. You know a clean, organized setup would make you more productive. You even made a list, throw out old papers, clean the desk, untangle the cables, and yet by Friday, you haven't touched a single paperclip. Because of course, you don't have time or it's not urgent. But the problem isn't lack of ideas, it's lack of action. You don't have a system, and without a system you don't progress. You just survive. So how do you change that? Start ridiculously small. Make the task so easy you can't fail. Want to organize your desk? Just throw away the receipt for that pen you bought last month. That's it. Tomorrow, another small thing. The point isn't to do it all, it's to get started. And when you really want to achieve something, use the no matter what method. Pick one non-negotiable habit, something so important to you that you'll do it whether it's raining, whether you're in a bad mood, or whether your day's been a total mess, like brushing your teeth. You don't debate it, you just do it. That's how your writing routine should be, or your 10-minute walk, or reading 5 pages. No excuses. And don't forget, reward your consistency, not the result. Celebrate every day you show up even if there's no visible change yet, because success doesn't come from one big day. It comes after a bunch of days that seem insignificant. And believe me, those are the ones that build your new reality. The difference between those who move forward and those who stay stuck isn't talent. It isn't luck. It's doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. Because, my friend, changing your attitude is what gets you to where you want to be. And that attitude starts inside, not out there. Only when you act from within, with clarity and discipline, does the world begin to match your pace. And that's when life really starts to transform. Free. Every mistake can lift you or sink you, you choose. Picture this. You've spent weeks preparing for a job interview. You practiced your answers, polished your resume, even bought a new shirt to make a good impression. Everything seems to be going well, until the interviewer hits you with a direct question. What attracts you to our way of working? And you, without thinking, confidently answer, I love that all the products you sell are natural and eco-friendly. I think that's really important nowadays. Silence. The interviewer frowns, and then it hits you. You're interviewing for a delivery job at an auto parts company. No natural products, nothing eco-friendly. You mixed up the companies. You applied to so many, your mind crossed wires at the worst possible moment. You try to correct yourself, but it's too late. The vibe has shifted, and a few days later you get the classic email. Thank you for your time, but we've decided to move forward with another candidate. And that's when that voice kicks in. I'm useless, I always screw things up, I should just give up. But here's the real turning point, my friend. That mistake can either pull you down or bring you closer to what you want. It's up to you. And no, this isn't about pretending it didn't happen, of course not. It's about learning, about replaying that scene like a coach watching game footage in slow motion. Noticing when your nerves kicked in, what you could have done differently, how you can prepare better next time. The key is not to get stuck in the drama, because when you stay there, the mistake drags you down. But when you face it head on, it can push you toward your best version. Don't just take it from me. Brett Conti, content creator and entrepreneur, is living proof that a strong attitude can change everything. He started with a shirt business. It failed. Then he tried other ventures and failed again. But he didn't sit around feeling sorry for himself. He didn't say, I'm not cut out for this. He changed his focus, made the necessary adjustments, and launched a tea brand that's now thriving. What did he do differently? He treated every mistake as a signal, not a sentence. He stopped fighting his failures and started working with them. And this isn't just anecdotal. Psychologist Ethan Kross, author of Chatter, found that people who talk to themselves with a bit of distance, as if speaking to a close friend, bounce back faster from failure. In other words, instead of saying, I'm such a mess, you say, okay, I messed up, but I can fix this, this, and this. That small shift in self-talk, it changes everything. That's exactly what the Stoics taught. For them, failure wasn't the problem. The real problem was not learning. The real problem was letting your pride stop you from seeing what could be improved. Because when your ego takes the wheel, you don't correct, you repeat. And worse, you start thinking the mistake defines you, but it doesn't. A mistake is just a sign that you're trying, and that alone puts you in a different league. So, next time you screw up, try this. First, analyze the mistake like a coach watching replays. What went wrong? What could you have done differently? Also, laugh at yourself a little, not to avoid responsibility, but to release the tension. Because if you treat every slip-up like a tragedy, you'll live in fear. But if you approach it with lightness, you'll move forward with more strength. That shift in attitude is key if you want to transform your life and achieve what you're truly capable of. Because we all fail, we all stumble. But not everyone uses that stumble as a stepping stone. You're going to start using it to move closer to where you truly deserve to be. Now tell me, have you ever messed up but ended up stronger because of it? Share it in the comments. We'd love to hear your story, because sometimes sharing our mistakes helps someone else get back on their feet too. 4. If you don't believe in yourself, who will? They say there was once a donkey who dreamed of running like the horses. He lived on a farm surrounded by them, watched them train every morning, galloping with strength, with grace, with energy. He, on the other hand, just watched from a distance. His thoughts were always the same. I could never do that. They were born for it. I'm slow, clumsy, insignificant. And yet, deep down, he dreamed of running. Not to be seen, not to prove anything to anyone, but just to feel free. One day, something happened. A cart loaded with boxes started rolling downhill on its own. The horses weren't around. The farmer shouted for help. And without thinking twice, the donkey ran. No one told him he could. No one yelled, "Come on, you got this." But something inside him lit up. He ran like never before, legs shaking but full of determination. And yes, he caught up with the cart. He stopped the disaster. The farmer stood there, speechless. But the donkey wasn't. He just smiled. Because that day, he didn't need anyone else to believe in him. It was enough that he believed in himself. Tell me something, my friend. How many times have you held yourself back simply because you didn't trust yourself? How many ideas have you swallowed? How many paths did you never even start walking just because you were afraid to fail? It probably started when you were a kid. You were in class, you knew the answer, but you didn't raise your hand. You were afraid of being wrong, of looking stupid. And then another classmate said exactly what you were thinking, and they were right. And what you felt was that mix of shame, frustration, and regret. The worst part? It wasn't that you didn't know. It was that you didn't believe in yourself. But it's okay. You weren't the only one. And it wasn't your fault. As psychologist Alvaro Bilbao explains, if you weren't spoken to with warmth and confidence as a child, if your self-esteem wasn't nurtured in a healthy way, there's a good chance you carried that fear into adulthood. The feeling that you always need someone else's validation to speak up, to try, to shine. And it's probably still happening now. Picture this. You're in a work meeting. You've got a brilliant idea, one you know your boss would love. But you hesitate. You overthink it. You hold back. And while you're spinning in your thoughts, your co-worker, the one who never hesitates, says exactly what you were about to. A few weeks later, she gets promoted. And you're still waiting to feel ready, still hoping someone will push you to speak up. Because you think if others believe in you, then you'll finally be able to. But do you know what was missing? Attitude. You lacked belief. As Seneca said, it's not because things are difficult that we don't dare. It's because we don't dare that they are difficult. If you don't change what you believe about yourself, if you keep searching for certainty in other people's eyes, you'll stay exactly where you are. No one's going to believe in you if you don't do it first. No one's going to fight your internal battles. In fact, most people are too busy fighting their own to come rescue you. So what can you do? How do you start building that belief? First, trust yourself the way you trust your best friend. You wouldn't say to them, "You have no idea what you're doing," right? So don't say that to yourself. Talk to yourself with kindness, firmness, and respect. Second, celebrate your small wins. Did you finish a tough task? Did you speak up when it made your heart race? Did you wake up early to train? Good. All of that counts. And if you don't celebrate it, no one else will. Third, surround yourself with people who lift you up. People who remind you of your worth when you forget it. Because yes, your environment matters, more than you think. And finally, hold on to this quote by Theodore Roosevelt. Believe you can and you're halfway there. But it's not about vague belief. It's about believing just enough to take the first step. Because remember this, If you don't act from within, no one else can change your attitude for you. And if you don't change your attitude, your life will never truly change. 5. Falling isn't the problem, staying down is. Imagine you're learning how to ride a bike. At first, everything goes wrong. You fall, scrape your knees, your wrist aches from trying to stay balanced. And of course, at some point, your mind starts whispering, "This isn't for me. I should quit. This just isn't worth the pain." But right there, while you're still on the ground, you realize something. The only way to move forward is to get back on, because no one learns to pedal without wobbling first. And life, my friend, is exactly the same. Full of falls, but also full of chances to get up stronger than before. If you're going through one of those phases right now where everything feels like it's falling apart, I want you to remember someone who had it really tough. His name is Ruben Martinez. He's the CEO of Ruhamar, a family business, and he knows exactly what it means to rise after hitting rock bottom. First, he lost his brother, then his father. And just when it seemed like nothing worse could happen, in 2024, a fire destroyed most of their production. Do you know how easy it would have been to say, "That's it, I'm done"? To give up, sell everything, walk away. But no, Ruben chose a different attitude. He kept his entire team, worked against the clock, and managed to recover the losses in less than a year. That's the difference between letting the fall defeat you and turning it into fuel. The Stoics knew this well. Seneca made it clear when he wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, just as labor strengthens the body." But do you really think Seneca never messed up? Of course he did. Picture him misplacing his scroll with a finished essay, or accidentally pouring vinegar into his wine. Even the wise stumble. The difference is what they do after the stumble. So, what can you do to turn a fall into another step toward your goals? First, accept that falling is part of the journey. Don't beat yourself up for failing. Do yourself a favor and give yourself permission to be human. You could even write "To err is human" on a sticky note and place it somewhere you'll see every day. It's simple but powerful. Next, take a closer look at what made you fall. Were you rushing too much? Did you skip your prep? Were you overconfident, thinking everything would go perfectly? Go full detective mode, but without the guilt. Just with curiosity. You could even sketch your mistake like it's a goofy cartoon character. Give it a silly name. Sometimes laughing a little helps release the tension and see things with perspective. And if you feel like you can't handle it alone, ask for support. Talk to someone you trust. Share what happened. Sometimes just saying it out loud brings relief. Other times that person gives you exactly the insight you needed. Because asking for help isn't weakness, it's courage. Falling isn't the issue. The real danger is staying down, thinking it's no longer worth getting up. But every time you get back on your feet, even if you're shaky, you grow stronger. Every time you try again, even if you're scared, you get closer to your goal. And that, my friend, is real transformation. The kind that begins inside you. So tell me, are you going to stay on the ground? Or are you going to keep pedaling toward your goals? 6. Listening gives you power. Tell me something, my friend. How many times have you been in a conversation just waiting for the other person to finish so you can say your part? Do you really think that by talking more, you'll be right or get further? Of course not. That need to always have the last word, to shut yourself off from what others have to say, doesn't make you strong. It makes you blind. Because real power doesn't come from forcing your opinion, it comes from understanding. And for that, you need to learn how to listen. Good listening can open more doors than 1,000 speeches, because when you really listen, you notice things you used to overlook. You learn, you adjust, you make better decisions. And most importantly, you hear in yourself what others might never dare to tell you, but what you need to hear. Listening isn't passive, it's strategic, it's tuning in. Yes, exactly. Listening is like tuning a musical instrument. If you don't pay attention to each note, the melody goes out of tune. And in life, the one who tunes best leads the orchestra. So, do you want to be that leader, or just make noise? Epictetus made it clear centuries ago, We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. That phrase didn't go viral by accident. It sums up a truth most people still ignore. The Stoics knew the world isn't mastered through shouting or empty opinions. It's mastered through observation, through listening, through learning from your surroundings before you act. Imagine Marcus Aurelius alive today, in a Zoom meeting with his team. One person talks too much, another one complains. Someone else keeps interrupting. And him, silent, listening, taking mental notes, observing. And when it's his turn to speak, he drops a sentence so clear, so direct, so wise that everyone goes quiet. That's power. Not because he spoke the most, but because he knew exactly when to speak. You think that's luck? Of course not. That's mental discipline. That's attitude. Psychologist and speaker Rafael Santandreu also explains it in his talks. Active listening is one of the most powerful tools not just for improving your relationships, but for improving your mental health. When you listen attentively, without judgment, you switch off emotional autopilot. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding with intelligence. Listening gives you space, and in that space, you find clarity. So how can you train yourself to truly listen and gain the clarity you've been missing? Here are 3 keys, but listen to them closely, literally, because they can give you more power than you think. Start with the basics. Let others speak. Yep, that's simple. Don't jump in. Don't finish their sentences. Don't get uncomfortable with silence. Do the opposite of what you normally would. When you're talking with someone, make a conscious decision not to interrupt, even when you think you already know what they're going to say. Because that's when you might be surprised. Maybe your partner isn't upset about what you think. Maybe your coworker doesn't need help. Maybe they just need to be heard. That pause you give them could be the difference between creating a problem or avoiding one. Next, wait before responding. A 2-second pause may sound like nothing, but it can change the game. Instead of replying with the first thing that comes to mind, you give yourself time to process what was said. Imagine someone criticizes your idea in a meeting. Your first impulse might be to defend yourself. But if you take that short pause, you might say instead, "Thanks for that point. Could you elaborate a bit more?" And just like that, everything shifts, because you listen to understand, not to attack. And finally, listen to what's not being said. This is the master level. When you pay attention to tone, to pauses, to the words someone avoids, you can pick up far more than you expect. Sometimes your friend doesn't need advice, just a hug. Sometimes your brother doesn't say, "I'm exhausted," but you can hear it in how slowly he speaks or the way he stares at the floor. That's deep listening. And when you practice it, you don't just understand others better. You start to understand yourself. So remember this: listening doesn't make you weak. On the contrary, it gives you an edge. The one who listens well understands more, and the one who understands more makes better choices. Changing your attitude starts with opening your ears. Are you ready to do it? 7. Your environment thinks for you. Legend has it that in a valley hidden beneath the mist, there's an enchanted field where mushrooms grow without following the rules of nature. No one plants them, no one waters them, and yet they appear every day. The strange thing is this: their shape, color, and effect change depending on what's floating in the air. If the wind carries joy, glowing mushrooms appear, almost magical, bringing clarity and calm. But if the air is full of complaints, fear, or anger, then dark, sticky mushrooms grow. They cling to anyone who steps on them and fill their minds with thoughts that aren't even theirs. They say that anyone who walks through that field without being aware of what they carry in their heart ends up poisoned. Because that land, my friend, doesn't know good from bad. It just absorbs, it just reflects, it just transforms. Now listen carefully, because the same thing happens with your mind. If you surround yourself with negativity, with mockery, with toxic energy, your attitude starts to twist without you even realizing it. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. That's exactly what happened to me. For years, I grew up hearing constant criticism about my body, about my personality, about how bad I was at sports or how clumsy I was in school. One day I said I wanted to go to university, and they laughed. Literally. Someone said, "You? Please. You can't even add 2 plus 2 without a calculator." Another joked that I couldn't last a full afternoon in class without complaining. And the worst part? I believed them. Every one of those comments stuck to me like notes scribbled on paper that I carried in my backpack. And you know what happened? I quit things halfway through, because I already believed I wasn't cut out for it. And if you go in convinced you'll fail, you will. Period. But this time, something changed. I did go to university. I arrived full of doubts, feeling like everyone else was smarter, more prepared, more capable. But there, I found something I'd never had before. An environment that believed in me. Professors who said, "Try again, you can do better." Classmates who shared their notes without me asking. People who wanted to grow, and pushed me to grow too. And then I saw it clearly. The problem wasn't that I was failing. It was the environment that made me believe I couldn't succeed. Your environment programs you without you even noticing. It tells you when to speak, when to stay quiet, how much your ideas are worth, and when you should shut up. But when you change that environment, when you surround yourself with people who lift you up, your attitude shifts, and your life does too. The Stoics understood this deeply. Seneca wrote it plainly. Avoid both those who complain constantly and those who never do, for both are dangerous. Because surrounding yourself with extremes drags you down. One infects you with endless whining, and the other makes you believe expressing your emotions is weakness. But what you need is balance, and for that, you need to filter what you allow into your mind. Picture this. You've been wanting to record your first YouTube video for weeks. You've written the script, practiced in front of the mirror, even picked the perfect title. But the moment you tell someone in your circle, they hit you with, "Who's going to listen to you?" Or, "There are already 1,000 people doing it better." The result? You drop it. But what if instead you walked into a space full of other creators, people who are learning too, who cheer for your effort? You know what would happen? You'd probably upload that video within a week. Because the right people don't laugh at your dreams, they push you forward. And that changes everything. So what can you do to surround yourself with people who help shift your mindset? The most important thing, filter your circle. Not everyone around you has to be a personal growth guru, but they should add value. They should challenge you, listen to you, push you. And if someone's only there to tear you down, it's time to create some distance. Also, be mindful of what you consume. Think about it. You spend more time with your phone than with any person. Who are you following? What do you watch on YouTube, TikTok, or Spotify? If everything you consume leaves you feeling like life is a meaningless struggle, of course you're going to feel unmotivated. Follow accounts that inspire you, that give you light, that remind you what you can build. Because maybe the problem isn't that you lack motivation. Maybe you've just spent months surrounded by people who live in a constant state of discouragement. So I'll leave you with this question. What if the first step to changing your attitude isn't about you, but about what you allow to surround you? Changing your environment might be the quietest and most powerful decision you make today, because you only need to act from within to transform who you are and what you do. 8. Are you waiting for the perfect moment? Spoiler alert, it doesn't exist. Yep, it's that simple. The perfect moment is like that one friend who always promises they're on their way, but never shows up. You could spend your whole life waiting for everything to line up, waiting to have time, to feel energized for the planets to align. But meanwhile, life keeps going. And the worst part? You don't even notice. I'll start Monday. When things calm down at work. After the holidays. Sound familiar? That's the trap. And trust me, we've all fallen for it. What no one tells you is that the perfect moment only shows up after you start, never before. Think about it this way. The only thing separating you from the person who's already doing the thing you keep putting off is that they started even when things weren't ready, with fear, with doubts, with whatever they had, but they started. Remember that quote from Marcus Aurelius? Don't live as if you had 1,000 years ahead of you. The Stoics knew the only real tool you have to change your life is action in the present. Not what you'll do tomorrow, not what you'll plan next month. Today. And let me ask you something. Can you picture Marcus Aurelius saying, "I won't write today, I'm kind of overwhelmed. Maybe tomorrow I'll feel more inspired," or "I'll start meditating when I'm more focused"? Of course not. Because if he had waited for the perfect moment, we wouldn't have one of the most powerful works in the history of philosophy. He wrote meditations in the middle of war, sickness, endless responsibility, and still, he wrote it. And if all of this still doesn't convince you, listen to someone who lives with his feet in the mud, not just his head in the books. Diego Dreyfus. He says it clearly. Waiting for the ideal moment is just an excuse not to fail. It's cowardice disguised as planning. It's harsh, but he's right. Because sometimes you're not really waiting, you're hiding. My friend, it's time to stop waiting endlessly. And for that, I've got 3 simple steps. First, do one thing today, no matter how small, that gets you even a centimeter closer to what you want. Want to start a business? Launch a poll on social media. Want to write a book? Write a paragraph? Want to improve your health? Take a 10-minute walk. Don't ask if it's enough. Ask if it moves you. Second, allow yourself to do it badly. Most of the time, what's slowing you down isn't fear of hard work. It's fear of not doing it perfectly. But here's the truth. A messy attempt is better than a perfect wait. Mistakes can be fixed. Inaction leaves nothing behind. Third, use the 5-minute rule. If there's something you can do right now that takes 5 minutes or less and gets you closer to your goal, do it. Send that message. Open that document, write down that idea. Because if you leave it for later, later turns into never. Remember, you don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to wait for the fear to vanish or for the moment to be ideal. You just need to act from within, make a decision, and change your mindset toward what's holding you back. That's where your transformation begins. And now, my friend, tell us in the comments, what's that thing you've been putting off, waiting for the perfect moment, that you're going to start today, even if everything's not ready? Write your commitment, say it out loud if you need to, but don't keep it inside anymore, because making that decision is already the first step. 9. Decide for yourself, or someone else will do it for you. Tell me honestly, my friend, how many of the important decisions in your life have you truly made? And no, I'm not talking about choosing between coffee or tea for breakfast. I mean the kind of decisions that define you. Are you where you are because you chose it? Or because it's what others expected of you? Because sure, going along with what people say can seem easier. But there comes a point when your soul starts to show signs it can't take it anymore. You take the job your family suggested because it's stable. You start a relationship because it's about time. You study something because it pays well. But meanwhile, there's a voice inside you, not screaming, but steady, telling you this isn't your path. And if you keep ignoring it, one day, you'll explode. Life becomes like a GPS someone else turned on for you, and you're in the car, listening to directions, following routes, letting others tell you where to go. But who chose the destination? If it wasn't you, get ready to arrive somewhere that feels unfamiliar, unwanted, and hard to leave. Epictetus didn't sugarcoat it. As long as you don't know what death is, you won't know what life is. And as long as you don't know what you want from yourself, you'll live according to what others want from you. Do you see it now? If you don't take the wheel, life will take it for you, and it won't always be gentle. Because the decisions you don't make, someone else will. And believe me, people won't always choose what's best for you, just what's most convenient for them. Want a real-world example? Look at Spanish singer Bailey Basarte. She signed with a major record label, a dream for many, But at some point, she felt her music no longer belonged to her. Every song started to feel more like what others expected, and less like what she truly wanted to say. So what did she do? She made a choice that would terrify most people. She left the label. Yes, she gave up security. Yes, she stepped into uncertainty. But she got her voice back, her authenticity, her direction. She became the owner of her music again, and of her life. And that, even if it seems small, changes everything. Because when you decide, even if the road is tough, you're at least walking toward where you want to go. So, if you truly want to start shifting your mindset, here are 3 things you can do right now. First, make a list of the big decisions you've been avoiding, the ones that make you uncomfortable, the ones that follow you around, the ones you know you'll have to face sooner or later. And pick one, just one, but choose it today. Second, ask yourself if what you're doing every day is moving you closer to or further from the person you want to be. And here's the key. Every day, make one micro decision aligned with your true identity. It doesn't have to be huge. Maybe it's saying no to a plan you don't feel like doing. Maybe it's signing up for that course you've been putting off. But do it, because those tiny choices are what start turning the wheel of your life. Let me remind you of Gandhi's words. It is not destiny that decides your life, but your decisions. The answer, as always, is inside. Changing your mindset doesn't require the world around you to shift. It just takes one internal choice to stop living to please others and start living to build your life. Because when you decide, everything begins to change. And I hope you decide to keep watching this video until the very end. Because, my friend, the final key is the one that can truly transform you. 10. Act as if it were already yours. Picture this. The alarm goes off. You don't wake up dragging your feet or rushing through the morning. You get up with a clear sense that you know exactly what you're doing with your life. You shower without checking your phone. You get dressed with intention. You make yourself a simple but healthy breakfast. You're not rushing, you're not complaining. You move through your day with purpose because you know who you are and where you're headed. You walk into that meeting and speak with confidence. You post that video without reviewing it 100 times. You make decisions with certainty. No hesitation, no need for permission. You are fully you, your most powerful version. The one that not long ago only existed in your head. But today, my friend, you're finally starting to embody for real. Because yes, your attitude is the one thing that can shift your reality from the inside out. And one of the most powerful ways to do that is to start acting as if you already were the person you want to become. No, this isn't about pretending. It's about rehearsing. Your mind is like a theater actor. If it believes the role, so does the audience. But if you doubt the script, if you walk on stage unsure, if you stumble through your lines, everyone notices. And who's that audience? Your own reality. The one that responds to what you give off. What you project is what you attract. If you walk with fear, life throws obstacles your way. If you walk with confidence, everything changes. The other day I heard athlete and entrepreneur Nick Bare talk about this with Dan Churchill. He said that during his toughest training sessions when his body couldn't go any further, he didn't focus on the pain. He focused on the outcome. He visualized it already done, the race already won. His attitude wasn't doubt, it was conviction. And that changed everything. And it's not just a nice idea, science backs it up. When you picture yourself succeeding and act as if it's possible, you activate areas of the brain linked to achievement, motivation, and decision-making. But here's the catch. Visualizing alone isn't enough. You've got to move. Visualization without action is just fantasy. But visualization with movement, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So how can you start acting as if you already were your best self? Step into character. Want to speak with confidence? Start with your posture. Walk with your head up. Look at yourself in the mirror without looking away. Use a calm, steady tone. Your body has memory. If you train it to feel confident, your mind will follow. Second, Start doing the small things your ideal self would do. What does that person listen to? What kind of content do they consume? How do they respond when something goes wrong? Do they complain or adapt? And lastly, change your inner dialogue. Erase phrases like, "One day I'll make it," or "When I have time." Replace them with, "I'm already on my way," or "Today I'm getting one step closer." The way you talk to yourself is the way you act, and the way you act is the way you live. I won't lie, some days you'll feel like an imposter, days when the role feels too big. But if you stay consistent, if you keep rehearsing that strong, bold, determined version of yourself, there will come a moment when it's no longer an act. It will be you. For real. Because every external change begins with an internal decision, and you can make that decision right now. I'll leave you with this quote from Marcus Aurelius. "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." So think like someone who's already made it. Act like someone who's already strong. Live like someone who's already chosen to change. And you'll see how, little by little, your reality starts to catch up. Changing your life doesn't start out there. It starts within you. In how you think, how you choose, how you face what happens to you. Your attitude isn't just another detail. It's the steering wheel. You can keep waiting for the world to change, or you can start changing yourself. Because every time you choose to act with courage, with discipline, with clarity, you're writing a new version of your story. And that version, my friend, is so much stronger than you can even imagine. If you've made it this far, let me know in the comments by writing, "I choose my attitude and my destiny." That way, I'll know who the true Stoic warriors are who made it to the end. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give this video a like so you don't miss out on what's coming next. I also invite you to check out our playlist, which you'll see on the screen. It's packed with ideas, stories, and advice to help you navigate life with more wisdom and confidence. Click it, and let's keep moving forward together. Until next time, take care and keep embracing your inner Stoic.